Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Practical Organic Living. In today's episode, I'll be showing you 3 easy ways on how to mulch an urban garden. Mulching an urban garden is very different from mulching a garden where you have a lot of space. In an urban garden, we have very tight spaces and a lot of our backyards are covered by walkways or pools or other ornamental landscaping. So it's actually really hard to mulch an urban garden properly. But in today's episode, I'll be showing you how you can do that. There are 3 easy ways to mulch an urban garden. The first way is using wood chips. The second way is using shredded cardboard and shredded paper. And the third way is use a method called chop and drop. So as you can see, we've got a lot of walkways where we've actually put wood chips over the walkways. And that's because wood chips are the easiest way to actually cover those walkways. In an urban garden, it doesn't make sense to get chips from arborists because there's just way too many wood chips that they give you and you can't use all of it. So what I actually like doing, because my garden's not that big, is to go to a big box store like a Home Depot and buy just a bag of wood chips. Depending on the size of your garden, you may need a lot of bags or just a few bags. But in our case, we just need to buy a couple of bags a year. So let me show you how we use wood chips to actually cover the walkways. So it's really simple. What you gotta do is open your bag, put these wood chips down. And now we're just gonna level out the mulch that we dumped. So you can just take a rake and easily go like that and make it a little bit more level and a little bit better looking. Let me finish raking and I'll show you how you can use shredded paper and shredded cardboard to mulch the top of your raised garden beds. So another free resource you can use are Amazon packaging boxes, shredded paper, and other sources of cardboard and paper that you don't need anymore. And this makes it a great way to mulch the garden. So here I have a paper shredder, and you just want to get a paper shredder that can shred the paper into really small pieces. And all you do is just shred some paper and cardboard. And let me show you what the paper should look like before you put that on the raised beds. So if I open the paper shredder, you can see the paper shredder cut this into micro cuts. And in about a week's worth, you can get a lot of paper actually. Right, so now I'm gonna put this onto the raised beds. And I just mulch the top of the raised beds like that. And in the beginning of the season, the paper was actually the height of the top board. But as you can see, during the summer, the microorganisms are pretty hard at work. So what that means is that they consume the shredded paper and organic matter really quickly. So unless you're constantly feeding them paper or mulch or soil, your garden beds are going to be shrinking. So behind me, you can see there's our famous banana trees. From our previous videos, we've actually cut a whole bunch of bananas down. But instead of throwing these in the yard waste, what we've actually done is to use them as a chop and drop. So I've cut the bananas stalks into a lot of small pieces and I've just tossed them on top of the ground. I use that as mulch because bananas need a lot of mulch. Instead of using wood chips or shredded paper, I use bananas themselves. So we refer to this as a chop and drop method. So a chop and drop is another great way of mulching your garden. So let me show you another example. So the third way of mulching your garden is using the chop and drop method. And in this particular case, I've got sugarcane here. And after I'm done juicing the sugarcane, what I'll actually do is use the stalks and leftover leaves and just toss it next to the sugarcane on the ground. It's simple as that. That way you can mulch your garden and you can actually save yourself from throwing these into the yard waste. So a chop and drop method is actually my favorite method of mulching, but we don't produce enough leaves in organic matter to do so. So while there are a lot of ways to mulch your garden, what's important is not which method works better, but which method actually works for you and for your space and your garden. So as you can see from our garden, we use certain methods in certain areas. For example, you see the wood chips, you also see the shredded paper and cardboard, and you also see the chop and drop method. Personally, I like using the chop and drop method because it saves me work from going to Home Depot or any other box store and bring wood chips back. And likewise, I also like using shredded paper and cardboard because it's a great way to reduce the amount of waste you're generating. And all these mulching results will produce great results. So thanks for watching, everyone. We really hope that you learned something new and that you try mulching if you haven't already. It takes very little effort and very little time. See you in the next video, everyone. Bye.